There was a thriving Japanese community here in Cumberland. #1 Japanese town site, so that was close to the #1 mine. And so that's where the Japanese population lived. And at the town site, the history is that there were about 31 houses in that town site.
Near the Royston Lumber Company, which was the Japanese-owned mill, they had bought from a Mr. Grant, and they owned the mill themselves, and all their families lived within the mill compound, more or less. But they came to the school that I went to, the regular school. They had their own school on the property too, the Japanese language school. See, the Japanese were here early on at the time of the mines, when the mines first started.
Right.
They came in 1890. The first Japanese were here, and yet, you know, they were all well accepted in the schools and in the town, really.
Every second year, the Obon tour takes place in Cumberland, and we recognize the people that are buried in the cemetery. And the minister carries on a ceremony which everybody can be involved with, and it is a very nice, peaceful way of recognizing their ancestors. It depicts our past. We at one time had a large community of Japanese in the village, and with the internment we lost all the people that lived here. And we've carried this tradition on of every second year of doing the Obon tour in Cumberland to recognize what an addition they were to the community at the time they were here, because they were well known for their farming and their fishing. Yes, they were very important to the community.
The Japanese cemetery here was vandalized and was destroyed. A lot of the grave markers were knocked over. A lot of them were actually thrown over the side of the hill here, and they remained there for several years. And fortunately, someone or a group, I'm not sure if it was the village itself or whether it was just a group of people, actually gathered up the grave markers. And in the mid-1960s, 1967 is on or is carved on the monument here. These gravestones were all put into this one spot because there was no accurate record of all the graves. So although the grave markers were recovered, there was no way to determine which grave they belonged to. For 1967, I think that was quite a significant thing to take place, because the apology for the internment of the Japanese Canadians didn't happen until 1988 by the government. So for the little village of Cumberland in 1967 to do something like this is very significant. And you know, I've only lived in Cumberland for 12 years, but from what I've been able to learn about what has happened within this village, about I guess recording and saving the history of the village, the good and the bad, because there's both of it. I think that Cumberland has done a significant job in maintaining the history of our community, and I think that we've been able to celebrate, I think, the diversity of what was Cumberland at one time, because there was a Chinese community as well, there was a black community, Italians, Scots. There were a lot of people that came here to work in the coal mines.
You know, it's hard to explain the feeling that you have, but what really stuck in my craw, for example, was after they were moved, we used to walk the old railway grade out past #1 Japanese town, and just walk, Billy Martin and I, just walking by looking at where they had dumped household. Well, it wasn't really garbage as we talk about garbage. It was bicycles, it was pedal cars, that kind of stuff, toys, whatever they couldn't take with them. And it, you know, just kind of, you know, at that time. And being on council, you know, we got involved in things like, well, the Ginger Goodwin deal, and I was personally involved in that. The naming of the mountain, and then we got looking at the cemetery and decided, you know, this isn't good enough, let's fix it up. And so, you know, we bummed logs off a logging company and got them milled, and we had work parties and stuff. So to try and bring forward the history and the memories, I think more than anything, is to not let it go, because there's much, much more than I can, you know, relate to